One of the biggest problems in dealing with rental properties is when you get a squatter inside your property, man. Just got a note from my property manager that somebody moved in and got scammed for a freaking lease. Yeah, right, not likely. Cops are here right now.
Okay, I got more officers coming, and this gentleman owns the home, and he is giving me permission to kick the door from the hinges. It does not have to go that way, but it can.
What's up, everybody? I got viral video that I know would go viral because nobody ever sees the action like I do, because I teach real stuff about how to invest in real estate. What's up, everybody? My name is Troy Kearns. I'm a real estate investor. I started dead broke. I didn't have any money, and now I've got lots. No, I'm just messing with you. Now I've got a substantial amount of rentals that bring a massive amount of income, and I can teach you how to get started. All you gotta do is click the link in my bio and understand that it just starts with one property. But we recently did a viral video. This is one where we actually got the squatters out of the property. This is not the first time I've done this, so this is not something that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous about. Squatters that had broken into my property. I found out about it from my property manager. They're like, we're gonna have to do a legal eviction. I go, not so fast. I got you covered. I'll get them right out. So then I called my buddy Jared Peterson, who's a local guy here in Kansas City, and I said, hey, you got anybody to help me get these properties out of here? He's like, I got a guy. And we didn't have to get him out. We actually had the law enforcement get him out, which is much better. All right, I'm just pulling up right now. Got the squatters in here right now. You Chris? Sure. That's Chris. Thanks, buddy.
Hello, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? She was an amazing cop, this lady.
Look at this too. They opened this shit up.
That was stolen before they moved in.
All right.
That's why we knew they were scammers. They had a camera up there that she unplugged.
Okay, I got more officers coming, and this gentleman owns the home.
By the way, let me pause this real quick. I found out from Chris, because I guess a bunch of people sent him his video because they saw him on there, that he had offered him $500 to leave, and the guy was willing to take it, but the girl was insistent to not, so she ended up getting squat. But we would have given him $500 to get out, because it would have been better than having them to have to do something other than actually, just getting out of a property they didn't belong in. Instead, law enforcement, Kansas City Metro did a great job, and I believe the reason that they did a great job is I built rapport with the female cop. She knew that it was my property. I showed up on scene, and she was happy to help me, and I showed her that I owned everything right away. When they asked me, I'm like, this is La Casa, this is my operating agreement, this is this. So they looked out for me, they investigated the matter, they knew that these guys were scammers.
To kick the door from the hinges. It does not have to go that way, but it can.
I did a bad edit here. This is me late at night, so apologize for that.
Paddy Wagon's here.
Nobody has to go to jail, or nobody
She was
has
a
to
fantastic
be in
cop.
trouble. But we need to resolve this.
This guy drives the paddy wagon. I asked him, do you guys drive that every day? He says, no, they switch on and off. Didn't really meet that guy. You see the door right there. There's no doorknob on there. They obviously knocked that out to get into the house.
Someone to come and open the door. The owner is here.
By the way, I paid like $28,000 for this house. So yeah, he said he signed a lease, which is, I've dealt with this all the time. It's a bogus lease. He never wrote it. And it's funny, one thing is they always say, oh yeah, I put $2,500 down, because they heard from their meth head friends or from whoever that, you might be able to get that money back as damages and whatnot, but nobody puts a $2,500 deposit down, so they're acting like they're victims when in fact they're perpetuating that they're victims. They're actually the ones who are victimizing me. This guy's a good looking, he actually used to be on GQ. He was a model before he was a squatter. He's got a really good game face. Look at him.
Get the receipt.
Baby, get the receipt. You hear me laughing? He's got nice clean jeans, pants on there. This guy's like, why am I here? He's got a cross because he's a God-fearing man. He's got his Air Jordans on, which are probably stolen. Then this is her vacating my property, and I was like, is that my air conditioner? All right, so nobody moves in to properties with bags. And guess what? I'm glad we didn't pay them the $500 freaking dollars, because we got to clean the house out now because they got a bunch of their BS in there. Like, they're drug addicts. And the neighbor actually, he pulled up and he said, hey, I want to let you know that I saw these people actually walking around properties in the neighborhood looking for vacant houses. They saw that your grass was tall, and I saw them move into it, and I seen them try to get into other houses, right? So for those of you guys feeling sorry for them, don't. All right, so we're going to go to our first comment, which is by Mandy Makeup. She says, 82 homes in 18 months. What's the difference between financial freedom with some investment properties and plain greed? She goes, I'm just bringing up the question. There's not enough homes, and the amount of people that can own homes due to investors like this and corporations. Now, you bring up a great point, except for in Kansas City, there's tens of thousands of vacant homes that nobody's doing anything with, that people are either burning down because they get cold in the winter and they start a fire and they're drug addicts. I'm actually restoring houses that were vacant that somebody else failed at. Okay, the next one is it possible that he was scammed and falsely rented the property? It happens all the time. Absolutely, it happens all the time. One of the things that happened in Vegas was I had this guy, don't know where he was from, either California or something, or he would literally take all the properties I used to list for Fannie Mae. He would take those properties and then he would advertise them for rent. And then what they would do is they'd meet someone there, they'd do like a deflated rent. So they'd do rent at like $500 or $800 or something cheap, cash the money up front. They'd cut the door box off. They'd let the people move in. But you know what? If something sounds too good to be true, generally it is, because I had more phone calls from people that were saying, hey, I seen your property out here. Is it really for lease? Because it doesn't sound like it's real. And I would be like, yeah, they're using my name. This was definitely my expertise playing in the part because I've seen this stuff happen. The one lady I did see this happen to where she actually got scammed, because most of the time it was people faking it, was somebody with her furniture in there, right? Somebody was actually moving her stuff in. And I know plenty of people who have moved into properties and done so into foreclosures or into something else that they feel like they can get away with. Definitely not the case here. My guess is someone else renting them the house that didn't own them the home. My guess is that they just did a fake lease. It's not only my guess, it's the truth. They were seen walking through the neighborhood. So that guess is then verified by a neighbor who saw them walking through the neighborhood. And then obviously you didn't see that on the video. 9 times out of 10, when people are moving into properties like this with no air conditioner, with no doorknob, with no utilities, with none of that stuff, they're just looking to squat. And they actually do have squatters' rights. You would have to pay the taxes. You would have to put a notice out that says, I'm taking over this property. You could actually do this. This is actually a real estate term. It's called adverse possession. Or if you're in Louisiana, Napoleonic Code, it's called acquisitive prescription. Those two words, acquisitive prescription and adverse possession, are ways that you can actually have squatters' rights. But you actually have to go in there and make an aggressive legal place where you're going to pay the taxes, you're going to improve the property. You can do this with land. What happened back in the old days when they settled the West, all these people settled the West and then they ended up moving back and nobody had the property. This is not the case there. This is just people looking to take advantage of me. It's sad that investors are buying up all affordable properties and driving up rent. It's hard for young people who are starting out. You know, I get it. It's hard for young people who are starting out. The reality is, if you are in Kansas City, or if you were in a market like Kansas City, let's say the Midwest, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Panama City, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Southeast, South Dakota, Montana, you can buy cheap houses. There's nothing stopping you. In fact, if you worked at Burger King, you could qualify for a loan. So I don't feel sorry for anybody because they could do exactly what I'm doing. I started with nothing. I'm broke. I'm not like some rich investor that started as a rich investor. I started as a broke dude who became a rich investor. I didn't get daddy's money. My dad didn't have any money. Didn't get mommy's money. My mom didn't have any money. This is all self-earned, self-taught, and all by drive and desire. So I think that we need to start empowering people to be able to teach them, and we need to stop relying on like our school system who doesn't teach financial freedom. Our school system only teaches you how to count money. Our school system that allows you to go and get a job for a living. Instead, we need to work on teaching our children skill sets rather than making excuses that people can't afford to do anything because they're relying on a job to get them where, right? And if you're relying on a job like I have had back in the past, I've had one for 15 years now, 16 years now, but you have to understand, you have to hustle to get ahead. Even when I had a job, I had 2 jobs. I had 3 jobs. You got to hustle to get ahead. If you're just working and saving and scrimping and scramming, you're never gonna get ahead. So stop feeling sorry for people and understand that you are living in the country that has, at this point in time, the most opportunity for yourself to get ahead. That's why tens of thousands of people, millions of people are flocking here every single year to go take a piece of that American dream. And you're making excuses for it. So I think it's ridiculous. Why is nobody asking how his backside ended up on his front? I think he's referring to the fact that his stomach looks like a butt crack. And I think that has to do with diet. How are squatters not charged with breaking and entering? Well, the way they see it is once you put in that fake lease, it becomes a civil issue, right? If they were actually breaking and entering and caught in the act, the cops could charge them with breaking and entering, but they're pretty much decriminalizing anything other than white collar crimes, because if you didn't know, crime is actually a profit center, right? You can actually make money indicting people who have money versus the people who don't have money or are just gonna be a drain on the financial system. I don't know. I would love to charge them. I told them I wanted to press charges. I always press charges when I can. But she was like, you know what? We're lucky to get them out. So just get them out, move on. And I was like, that's cool with me. We are now cleaning up their freaking mess, which is gonna cost me more money, and marketing the property, and we will not be putting an HVAC system in that unit until it gets rented so that it doesn't get stolen again. These guys rented a house without a lease. is you either gotta evict them legally or you bring muscle. And I brought muscle. So there's two ways to do it. Like I could even go spend a bunch of money, wait a bunch of time, and then evict them, which was what they were counting on, or I could bring muscle. Why did I say that? The reason I said that is it's civil both ways. If I throw them out on the streets because I don't believe their lease, that's civil too. And they gotta take me to court. Do you think these people are taking me to court? No, because they didn't freaking do anything legally. If we go in there and I say, I'm entering my property because I freaking own it and you don't, you better get the hell out of here, then they better get the hell out of there. And if they don't, they can sue me. And that's what I was willing to do. That's why I went over there. Yes, my wife gets mad at me. She's like, you've got too much to lose to be doing this, but I grew up poor. I'm gonna protect my stuff, right? And if you're breaking into my house, you got a problem. You don't break into people's houses. That's rule number one. And I don't know when people started thinking that was okay. Probably when the cops start pressing charges. If these cops would have locked these people up for a long time, we were able to press charges and send them to jail, which is where they should be, then we would probably have less problems out there. And then if they stop putting more pressure on the drug dealers who are selling these drugs, or recycling manufacturers who are actually giving the people the money to strip the copper out of these HVAC units, just maybe we can get a control of this thing. Because the reality is, this is all drug related. This has nothing to do with the fact that people don't have the money, that people don't have, they're drug addicts. They're stealing money for drugs, stealing money for heroin, stealing money for this, and then they go, I don't care. I got nothing to lose. I'll break into this guy's house because he's got something I want. The reality is, if we just spent more time helping people get to where they want by not making excuses for the fact that you broke a rule, you should have consequences. I know that consequences work good for my daughter and my son. So obviously these guys didn't have good parents and they still don't care. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my reaction on those videos. If you did, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. By the way, we offer coaching. If you're interested in investing in real estate and you want to get started, all you got to do is click the link below. If you're on the sidelines and you're like, how do I get to 82 homes? How do I get to 300 units? I can help you. Get started. Take action. We'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.